Welcome back, my dear students, to our English session. Let us begin today with an inspiring thought. Surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and thinkers. But most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it yourself. Children, we all are storytellers. We all live in a network of stories. Let us learn about story writing in our today's English topic. Write your own story. Children, stories create magic and a sense of wonder at the world. Stories teach us about life, about ourselves, and about others. The books or stories you read and the characters you get to know can become like friends. Children, through stories, we share passion, fear, sadness, hardships, and joys. We find common ground with other people so that we can connect and communicate with them. Children, while writing stories, you need to keep in mind some elements. Now, what are elements? Elements are pieces that make up a short story come together to create the story as a whole. Now, let's see, what do you mean by a short story? A short story tells something about a single event or experience. In other words, it is not usually multiple situations. Second, it is fictional. That means it's not true, although it may be based on something that is true. Next, it is 500 to 15,000 words in length. Next, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Last point, it creates an impression on the reader. It gives some sort of lesson or idea towards the reader. Children, there are various elements included in a story. Among them, which is first characters, where you talk about people's, animals in the story. Setting, that is when and where the story takes place. Problem, that is the conflict or the main problem that the characters have. And the solution, how the problem is solved in the story. Children, every story has characters about whom the story is. So, the author or writer should introduce the characters in the story with enough information that the reader can visualize each person. This is achieved by providing detailed descriptions of characters, physical attributes, and personality traits. One element common to every story is the setting. Setting tells the reader where and when the story takes place. For example, the setting of Cinderella is a faraway kingdom many years ago. A good story writer looks ahead as he writes the story and plans it out, which means you must have the whole plot or situation clear in your mind. That is our next element. Children, now you must be thinking, what do you mean by plot? Plot means you must have the main points arranged in the proper order. Children, plot is a series of events through which the writer reveals what is happening, to whom, and why. So, the plot is really the little events in the story that lead up to make the story. To become a good story writer, you must have creativity and imagination. For this, children, read extensively and you will find your mind brimming with ideas. Before you start writing, see that you have a clear idea of the plot in your mind. Once you have got the outline ready, all that you need to do is to develop the points. Use your imagination and, where possible, introduce dialogues. Children, as said earlier, setting is one of the most important elements of a story. It is basically the time and location of the story. To make the setting more effective, the writer could make use of descriptions, dialogues, and details. For example, simply stating, "A winter morning in present day New York City" is not an effective description of the setting. It does not give the reader a very clear idea of the scene where the story is taking place. Now, read the following lines. It was a cold December morning. The snow was falling thick and heavy on the streets of New York City. People rushed about, wrapped in layers of clothes. Some called out for taxis, while others walked towards the train station. Tom and his friend George were making their way to the university. "Looks like it's going to be a snowstorm," Tom said. George nodded. "Yes, it's been snowing since last night." Children, these lines describe the same setting, a cold winter morning in present day New York City. However, they make use of details and dialogues. This makes it easier for the reader to imagine the setting. Students, theme is another important point in the story. Theme is the message the writer intends to communicate by telling the story. And the common themes are courage, honesty, love, friendship, forgiveness, loyalty, hope, equality, hard work, teamwork. Children, these are the key words. But when you write a theme, it shouldn't be just one word. It should be at least a sentence. Example, for the story Beauty and the Beast, the theme might very well have been, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Children, the topic Beauty and the Beast, there is a lovely young woman who ends up liking a beast. That is the topic. The message the author of the Beauty and the Beast trying to convey is, don't judge a book by its cover. Means looking at the cover or looking at the beast who looks very different, very scary, but look at his heart. So that is the message the author is trying to convey, and that is the theme of the story. Students, themes really can't be expressed in one word. So a theme would not just be courage, but it might be courage will help you in difficult situations. Let us study with one more example. The theme for Toy Story, for instance, might be friendship can conquer all things. Now let us study another element of the story, that is point of view. Children, point of view is the position of the narrator of the story and what the writer sees from that point. For example, it could be a first person story. It is written from the perspective of I. For example, I went to a store, I picked up a sandwich. That is first person. Or it could be from the perspective of third person. He went to a store, he picked up a sandwich. Children, that really actually is important what point of view it's written from, because the writer can reveal the information or hold the information back based on that point of view. And it really is the device that the writers can use to make the story more interesting. The last but not the least is conclusion. Children, the conclusion is the most important part of the story. The whole story must lead up to it naturally, and then it should come as a bit of surprise for the readers. Make sure that your story is grammatical and in good English. Revise your work, and if necessary, rewrite it until it is as good as you can make it. Thank you and take care.